Babe, wake up. New controversy just dropped. I've just got home from work. And I saw this going sort of viral and thought, you know what? I'm a YouTuber. I'll do a live react. YouTuber. And as you all know, as I bring out quite often on stream and everything else, this lives on my desk right by me. The wife tried to put it away earlier on, but nay, I say, Drizzt remains by my side, for I am something of a fanboy. Now, ScreenRant. A lady called Christina Trujillo? Sorry. Dungeons and Dragons has to solve its controversial drow problem before a Legend of Drizzt TV show can be made. I actually spoke a little bit about this with Kyle and Ryan over on the Nerdcognito Big Show a little while back. But I've not read this article as of yet. But we're going to go through it together and react. So let's have a see here, shall we? Dungeons and Dragons has to confront its drow problem so it can finally reward the adventuring parties loyal to the Legend of Drizzt books with an adaptation, which has been overdue since 1988. Dark Elf Drizzt Do'Urden was introduced. Yep, adapting Drizzt for the screen may be D&D's biggest commercial opportunity. Oh God, please no, why no, stop, what are you doing? I know exactly how this is going to go, Christina. I know exactly what you're going to do. And I sadly say this because as much as I love Salvatore's writings, he himself has said that he figures Drow to be problematic. Let's say I forget where the article was, but it was one of my first things I did with the Nerdcog guys. Actually, Salvatore's books frequently appear in in New York Times bestsellers. I do really recommend going and giving them a read. Start with the Dark Elf trilogy. They are fantastic books. But Dungeons and Dragons has to address its drow controversy once and for all. A live-action Legend of Drizzt adaptation would entail confronting the nature of drow and the color of their skin, which have been divisive in Dungeons and Dragons since 2020. Oh, dearie me! That's when history began. However, the politically dubious nature of the drow started being discussed in the fandom long before 2020. Maybe by you lot. Based on Norse folklore, drow were invented by D&D co-creator Gary Gygax and first introduced in 1977's Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual as an evil, black-skinned race. Needless to say, D&D had to rethink that. In a 2020 blog post they have since removed, Hasbro finally addressed the mounting controversy over its problem, and they did remove this. Throughout the history of D&D, drow have been characterized as monstrous and evil, using descriptions that are painfully reminiscent of how real world. Stop it! Stop it now! The drow aren't real people. They are a fantasy elf race. If anything, I'm really surprised they're not going the feminist route with this, because they're a matriarchy that's evil. I have the first edition Monster Manual on my desk as well, by the way. There is nothing wrong with the drow. The only people that see the drow and think human equivalent in the real world, I have some questions for you. A Drizzt Do'Urden TV adaptation would draw attention and could create more problems for D&D than sales. No. Look, the problem with a Drizzt Do'Urden on the screen would be you lot would butcher him. You would take away everything that was unique about him. The thing about Drizzt is he is a flower among thorns. He and his father are good drow. They have good souls. Jarlaxle, maybe not so much, but perhaps he's on his way to being good. And the entire point of Drizzt Do'Urden is to be the one good drow, is to fight against the reputation of his people. There is actually a book that Salvatore wrote the foreword for called How to Write Fantasy. I've got it around here somewhere. And in that, it's either he or the author of the book proper said that fantasy is a great playground to play with topics that are otherwise taboo. You can talk about race, religion, sex, and all the rest of it, and have no fear of repercussions because you're creating a fantastical world. things that you can ask what if questions. What if there was an evil dark-skinned race of elves that lived underground, worshipped a spider demon goddess, and were matriarchal? I mean, that is cool. But again, the pearl clutching, great. The pearl clutching here is unwarranted. A Drizzt adaptation needs Honor of Thieves. Look, I haven't watched Honor of Thieves. I don't want to watch Honor of Thieves. I'm moving on. D&D can't hide its skeletons in its closet anymore. Chaps, Dungeons and Dragons, the original creators, the skeletons in their closet are all over old forum posts, old books, old writings. All you can find what these creators thought about things. And I actually had a lovely little discussion with a lady that wrote modules for Gygax back in the day. I need to remember her name quickly. Laurie McVitie. And she came out publicly and she said that Gygax was always looking at the quality of her work, not at her as a woman. And then you can go and read Gygax poking fun at this sort of mentality in different forum posts and articles from elsewhere. And these people will clutch their pearls all the more. And I will come out swinging and say, Gygax did nothing wrong, damn it. Mostly. I don't know him personally. But in these circumstances, I don't think there is a leg for them to stand on. We'll continue, shall we? Because I only have so much time before dinner. D&D gradually shifted its depiction of Drow's skin color from black to purple to grey, and you have whitewashed them. I thought that was bad. I thought taking away the dark skin was bad. There was a really cool statue of Drizzt Do'Urden that they released either the beginning of this year or last year. Big thing. And he was basically light blue. They've taken away. There's a great line. I can't remember which Drizzt book it's in, where he refers to his skin as coal-colored skin, and he uses this great descriptive thing to then go on this this talk about how he has this skin, but it's not what defines him. And I think this is when his reputation is just starting to overtake that of his people's reputation. And it's a beautiful moment because people start going, it's Drizzt Do'Urden. Oh, can I get your autograph? Not, oh God, a drow, kill it, kill it, kill it. You see him overcome the reputation of Menzo Baranzon, and it is a brilliant payoff. You can't take away the evilness of the drow from this. It breaks everything. The Legend of Drizzt stands against racism, and smart writing would make this abundantly clear. Now, look, that is the sort of color skin Drizzt should have. Incredibly dark. This is the This is the image they used for the statue, but it was this kind of color where they take the color of his skin and whitewash him, which to me comes across as more racist. Just putting it out there. Legend of Drizzt is intended as an anti-racist message, and an adaptation script in the hands of smart writers would be strengthened in D&D's Dark Past. There is no Dark Past. Thank you very much. Is it an anti-racism message? Is it really? You could argue that, and you know what? I think there would be some merit to it. You know what it really is? It's an escape from evil. It's an overcoming of one's own dark nature, or the nature of one's people. It is the demon that is good. It is a fantastic, just an overcoming of evil nature. It's actually one of the good characters from Skyrim, one of Skyrim's only good characters, Parthenax, where he's like, oh, is it better to be born good or to be born evil and to overcome your evil nature? That's a fantastic line. It speaks to this as well. Drizzt's adaptation has to stand against racism loudly. No, it doesn't, you bloody fool. The drow are a threat. Drizzt kills drow because drow are threats. There's an entire plotline where, as a young drow, he swears never to kill another drow after he kills two of them, to get Guinevere's statue and to then leave Menzo Baranzon after the death of his father. Spoilers. And you And then he goes on saying, "Oh, I will never kill another drow." In fact, one of the things that separates Drizzt from Zaknafein, who's the only other good drow, arguably Jalaxel could be, is Zaknafein kills drow. Do you so enjoy killing drow? And it's that is a rift between them for many years that really takes a while to pay off. Oh, these books are so good. Go and read them or listen to them. That's a great way of doing it as well. They're on Audible. Just go and read the Drizzt books secondhand if you can. Don't give a penny to Watsy. Where was I going with it? Oh, yes. The Drow, again, spoilers, the Drow invade Mithril Hall. He has to break his oath. He has to come to terms with the fact that the Drow are majorly evil. Whether they're born evil, whether it's Lolth's influence, he doesn't know, but he accepts the fact that Drow are evil, and he starts killing them. The battle of... he has to kill Drow to save the goodly folk, which are the elves and men and dwarves. The surface elves, not the drow elves. For God's sake, they're so evil, they tried to butcher him as he was born as a sacrifice to their demon goddess. And then his sister tried to sleep with him when he became a man. This is the sort of evilness that the drow have. That Salvatore, growing up on the old fantasy stuff, I mean, again, that foreword I recommend reading of his, because he talks about how he read fantasy, suddenly discovered he loved reading, and then just dove into it all. And this sort of 1970s, 1980s fantasy that he was reading didn't shy away from just displaying an evil race of creatures, and that is what the drow are. The Avendrow are not the answer to D&D's problem. I don't know what the Avendrow are because I don't really keep up with new D&D lore. And that's the article. Dungeons and Dragons does not have a dark past. It simply does not. The Drow are not black people. That is what you are implying. You were implying that to have a dark-skinned race of evil creatures means there is some sort of racism going on. The only person drawing that conclusion, Christina, appears to be you and others of your ideological ilk. Good lord, this gets me hot under the collar. Anyway, before I sign off, ladies and gents, one more thing. Behold my evergreen article. I wrote this basically a year ago, just to we're about 20 days off of it being a year old. And it has come up a lot, an awful lot. Can you tell that I like drow? And I go through why having evil races in fantasy is so important. It's a politically driven push. Phone is going off a lot. It's a politically driven push to sort of take these things away. I think it began in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. In fact, that's the paragraph I'm on here. But the legend of Drizzt Do'Urden is the reason he is compelling is because he is the flower among thorns. He even writes, I think I have it here, he even notes that he knew of one goblin, one singular example of a goblin kind that was good, just one of them that did not desire the death and destruction of the goodly folk of the world. The whole dynamic of Drizzt's constant struggle to overcome the evil reputation of his people is a motivating and awe-inspiring tale of a truly exceptional individual, sticking to his principles to the point of becoming a legendary hero. And the best thing about that particular paragraph is there is a later part in the books where Drizzt attempts to parley with a group of goblins, one saying, oh, these goblins, just because they're goblins, they're not evil. Salvatore has the goblins make lewd gestures, sexual gestures, towards Catty Bree. You know what Drizzt's response to that is? Kill them all! Because he's a simp for redheads. Like me. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Do give me a like and a subscribe because it really helps the channel. Follow me over on X. We are steaming towards 2,000 followers over there, and I've been ranting about safety tools. But no, do go ahead, give me a like and a follow, and I will link specific things over on X that are good ways to deal with this sort of content. It is absolutely silly to say that the Drow are controversial. It's just really silly. Goodbye.